Hey y'all, it's Christy Cook from Teadoddles. It's time for another monthly Roundup podcast. I do this, I'm starting to do this to go along with my monthly Roundup post on the blog, which is where I usually talk about things that go on in between all the blog posts and maybe podcasts I'm starting to do or videos or anything like that. Because I do tend to get carried away with the craft sometimes. I do tend to have lots of things going on at once, which can be a lot to keep up with, but I feel the monthly Roundup posts kind of helps with that. So I'm starting off over here in my what I call my thinking chair. I did redo this on the blog. There's a blog post about it. But I'm gonna, after I do this a little bit, I'm gonna go over to my table where I usually do my videos at, because I have way too much stuff to show to keep around my chair. I just want to talk a little bit about some things before I move over that way. In my monthly Roundup post, now that post will not come out till 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to try my best to put it out a little bit earlier because this video will post before then. But don't expect to see it before 7 p.m. Monday evening. Because that's when my normal post time is because of my work schedule. My work beyond crafting. So in the blog, the monthly Roundup post, you can also find my posting schedules for the blog. All the social media links to where else you can find me. You can also sign up for email to the blog, the newsletter. As a newsletter subscriber, you get access to my coloring sheet page, which I draw these and ink them in and then scan them in, and they're printable coloring sheets that I design myself. I try to put out at least one new one per month, and I'm changing the schedule for that from posting. I was going to change you have to have a password to get to that page, and I was going to change the password every month, but I think I'm going to move it to every 3 months so it's easier for me to keep up with, because I'm always forgetting to do that. I do have 2 new drawings that will be uploaded by the time this video posts. One goes along with the pattern I did for the Merry Christmas sew along, and one is more of a doodle type pattern that I designed to print on fabric, and I did test that out, and I'll show you that in a little bit. But that will be uploaded by the time this video comes out, and that is a perk of being an email subscriber to the blog. And I did post a list of my intended schedule for YouTube videos. We'll see how that goes. Depends on if I see that people tend to like this kind of video more than that kind of video. Right now I'm intending on Tuesdays to have a tutorial type video, and I just want to say, if you see anything on the blog that you'd like to see in video format, please let me know. Just send me a message. My email is on the blog, or you can comment below the post, or message me on Instagram or Facebook or wherever else you may find me. That was my dog sneezing. But I just, if somebody would like to see a video version of what I've already make, if I could possibly make that happen, I would. So I'm just kind of looking to see what everybody wants to see videos of. So the tutorial Tuesday would be kind of like I just did a series on the baby blanket, baby clothes quilt. I just finished that up, and then it may relate to a blog post that I do, but it may just be something extra I'm doing that I do a tutorial on. So I just would like some feedback, if y'all don't mind, on what y'all would like to see. I also will be doing on Thursdays what I'm calling Thrifty Thursdays, and that's where you'll see things like my yarn haul post that I've done already, and my fabric haul post, or if I go thrift shopping or something, I find some good things. That'll just be where I put, I'm calling it Thrifty Thursday, and it'll just be kind of where I put any crafty type things I've bought recently, or maybe I found a good deal on. I do plan on doing another yarn haul type post coming up soon, believe it or not, but this is just from different places. So you will see some of it in this video when I show you my works in progress and finishes, but I didn't want to show it all in this, so it wouldn't be quite so long. Last time it was over an hour long. I'm trying to keep the time down a little bit. Now this will be a longer post than my usual videos are, because it is a monthly roundup video, and more of a podcast type thing. So, and then I've also started a Saturday Stuff series for my YouTube videos. That's just where I talk about things that are not necessarily crafty related. My first video was about me comparing Walmart beauty boxes and Target beauty boxes, because I like to get things like that. I have some planned for the month for some subscription services I use, and then I have one planned for some recording kind of equipment that I purchased recently for the month, because I recorded them all on the same day, because I have to do that sometimes. But that's what you can expect to see on Saturday Stuff, just stuff beyond crafting, and I may or may not keep that. I'm just doing different things to see what people like the most. I do not intend to do unboxing videos, although I have watched several of those. I didn't think that would be very interesting, but sometimes it is, depending on what it's about. If you're deciding to sign up for a subscription service or some kind of box you want to get per month, watching those videos is very helpful to know if you really want to do that. So I find that interesting. But that's what you'll see on Saturday Stuff. Now, as far as my life lived portion of the blog post, I did go to visit my son in Atlanta the week I took off the 4th of July, which did not accomplish as much as I thought I would that week that I was off. But I've got to learn to start taking days off from any kind of work. It's just because I'm off from my teaching job doesn't mean that I should necessarily work on the blog or do blog things. So Saturday I did take a day almost completely off from things. I did do some laundry, but that was a necessity. But I spent the whole day in my craft room doing craft things, just doing things I wanted to do. It was really quite enjoyable, and I think I've decided that Saturdays will probably be the day that I do that I take off from doing any bloggy things and just enjoy the day creating. And then maybe I won't feel so like I've everything else is jumping in front of that, which some people may see all the things that I post about and the things I seem to be making, but sometimes I just do enough to take a picture or do a blog post, or it's something I'm making for someone else. So it's not always as enjoyable as just creating and just flowing as you go throughout the day. So, we did, I started off saying I visited my son in Atlanta. I did. He's in the Atlanta Art Institute. We do live in Georgia. I live in the very, very south of Georgia, in case you can't tell by my accent. But he's up there in college doing game art design, and he's not planning on, he probably won't come back here until Thanksgiving, because he goes every quarter. He doesn't take breaks for summer. But I went that Monday with my father. We really enjoyed the trip. We did walk on a nature trail. I do tell you a little bit more about that in the blog post, so I'm not going to talk too much about that here. But it was nice to see him, although I have to say he did need a haircut and a beard trim. He looked very shaggy. But thus is the college life, I suppose. And his apartment was very nasty. But there's 4 guys living in there, so, you know, I don't have to live there, so whatever. But I do think they need to do a better job cleaning that up. But anyway, so let's see. I did get a haircut recently also. I don't think I mentioned that in my blog post. I'm not sure what that looks like when I turn to the side. But yeah, it was longer in the back. It's getting too long and very hot. So my hairdresser, Jessica, I love her. I think I'm going to have to get used to styling it though. Plus I wanted shorter bangs because when I part my bangs here, you can see all my wrinkles in my forehead. That's from me doing this all the time. What? And my students. I'm going to blame my students for that. What? Do I have to finish all the questions in the chapter? What do you think? Yeah, that's the kind of thing that goes on. But I teach drafting. I'm an adjunct instructor with a local college. So even college students, yeah, they do stuff just like that. So most teachers will understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so one more thing before I move out of my thinking chair over to where all the other fun stuff is. This month the 100-day project finished up on Instagram, and I did it last year and I was going to do it again this year, but I just kind of fell off of that. I did not finish that project. I did not do something every day but about maybe the first 30 days. But anyway, so this thing sitting behind me that you can see a little bit on the back of my chair, that's what I did last year for the 100-day project. And I just use crochet thread I had left over. I keep all my extra ends and stuff, and I just crocheted on it a little bit. It was just a freeform kind of project, and I did do it every day for 100 days. I think I might have missed one day, but and I enjoyed it. So for this year's project, I did this. It's upside down. This. And I'm gonna zoom in on that a little bit. So what this is embroidery on a window screen that I bought from Goodwill for 50 cents. I do intend on eventually filling in this whole thing, right? You can see the butterfly I did, and then like a gecko, and this is the beginning of octopus arms, because this is kind of an ocean feel and a desert. This is more jungle. I'm not sure what this area is going to be yet, but these are not, I did not have a pattern for any of this. This is freeform embroidery. I looked at a picture of a butterfly online, and I just looked at it while I was doing the embroidery just to kind of get an idea of what it looked like. One of the main reasons I didn't keep up with this, I think, is because doing embroidery on this fixed frame is very cumbersome and odd, because you can't, you know, when you do embroidery, most of the time you have it in a hoop and you can fold it up to just the little area you're working on. You can't do that with this because it's in a fixed frame, which is rather large, and turning it and trying to go under, it just gets tedious. And plus it's kind of hard to see the graph of the screen. You probably can't even see it on there, I don't know. So sometimes you think you hit the right place and you have to come back up because you can just see everything behind it. So I really need to find a way to do this that maybe be a little easier before I try to continue working on it. So I'll just I've put that to the side for now, and hopefully I'll pick up on that eventually. I don't know when, but one day I will have it completely filled with embroidery, which is my goal. I do have some other ideas with buying some just the screening and putting them in picture frames, and maybe doing small embroideries. I think that would be really neat. So we'll see how that look for that in the future, and then look for maybe a finished version of this eventually in the future. So now I'm gonna move over to my work table over here, where I have all the works in progresses and finishes and other things to show you that are in the monthly post. So I'll see you over there. Okay, y'all, I'm back. I'm at my work table, and I'm gonna just go along with what the blog says. So if you see me looking over here, it's because I'm looking at my computer to remember what I need to talk about. So the first section, we've already covered most everything that's in the life lived and the blog news updates. Any questions about anything, just you can email me or message me on any of the places you find links for in there. So in crafty news, I've already talked about the 100-day project. Now the next thing in the crafty news is about the 100 days 100 blocks with Tula Pink. I have been collecting Tula Pink all year long specifically for this event, and guess what? I missed the start date by 2 days on Instagram. And I was just like, oh, just forget it. Because I wanted to do every one every day. And the week that I was off, I had planned on sewing up some in advance. Because you just have to post the block on each day. You don't have to make it each day. So that didn't happen. So I will just save my Tula Pink stash for some other fun project for now. I have opened a crafty shop for patterns. There's nothing in there yet, so I didn't provide any links in the blog post because I'm intending on moving all my patterns from last year's Merry Christmas Sew Along into the crafty shop. They'll be $1 a piece because other than a cover sheet, I'm not adding instructions. You'll have to go to the blog to see the blog post for the instructions because it's already there. I hope to post some other patterns eventually. We'll see how that goes. I haven't managed to move the patterns I have to the shop yet, so as soon as I do, I'll put a link out. I'll probably say something about it on Instagram or my Facebook page or something like that. So, and then the final thing in crafty news is all those quilts I made for a doll like me. It was a kind of little thing that another blogger did back in February, and I made 5 little doll quilts to donate to that. I had them finished for a while, and then they sat and sat and sat, and I finally mailed them off this month. My dog thinks he needs to talk to. And she messaged me on Instagram to say she had received them, and she's already sent one out with a doll. And she sent me a little picture of it. It was really cute. It had a butterfly on the shirt, which most of the quilts I sent her had butterflies on them. So I forgot to ask if I could share the picture, but you can watch her. I put a link to her Facebook page on my blog, and she's also on Instagram. So you can check that out and find out more about that. But that was really neat to see the quilts going to a new home, and hopefully it puts a smile on someone's face. Okay, so let's move right on along to sewing news. First thing, sewing news. This month we started the 2018 Merry Christmas Sew Along, and if you don't know anything about that, this is an event I do with my friend Monique at Farmhouse Quilts. We do ornaments, and they're sewn and quilted and beaded and just little simple ornaments. Our theme this year is Scandinavian themed, and we said we're going to do just red and white to keep it simple, but I noticed that Monique's been posting some pictures of her fabric she's using, because her first ornament comes out in August, the second Monday in August. She's got some other colors in there, but I really like her color combination. But anyway, I'm still going to stick with the red and white, and I have some grays and blacks just for accents to make it simple for me. But this is the first ornament. Call it Reindeer Swirls. And I also did a version where I just drew it with markers and glued everything down. You can see I have a link to the page on my blog, which will be where you find all the links to all the ornaments and all the information you need. There are prizes this year, so you may want to go ahead and check that out. I tried to do a video of me doing the thread sketching on the antlers for this one. Well, it's kind of free motion thread sketching kind of stuff. Did not work because the light on my sewing machine was glaring and making it where you couldn't even see what I was doing. So as soon as I can figure out how to sew and record at the same time, I'll probably do more videos about things like that, but I'm still learning about that stuff, so hopefully you'll see that in the future. So that's the Merry Christmas Sew Along, so you check it out. We have a Facebook group as well. We have a hashtag on Instagram. So the way to win the prizes, you just post a picture of your ornament in the Facebook group, and or you can post it on Instagram and use our tag, and you get an entry for each ornament you post a picture of. Pretty easy, right? So no pressure. We're going to do one July through December will be the last one, and we'll alternate. Last year, that'll leave us July, August, September, October, November, December. It gives us 6 ornaments altogether. Last year we did 10 because we each did one in a month, but we were both a little busy this year, so we started a little earlier, but we're just doing less ornaments. So go ahead and check that out. So the next thing, the next thing I have is finishes. So one thing that I finished is the shirt that I'm wearing right here. Yay! This is a pattern from Blank Slate Patterns. It's a free pattern. It's called the High-Low shirt. I did do a version of this with shorter sleeves and a non-knit fabric. There'll be a link in the blog post to the original one I did. I didn't like the way that fit, and I tried to make some adjustments because it was too tight in here, which hardly ever happens to me. If anything, it's usually too loose in here because I wear a large for my shoulder span and everything, but there's not a lot going on here, so I tend to have extra fabric in this area. For some reason, that one just fit so snug across here, and even after I made some adjustments, I just didn't feel comfortable wearing it. I wound up giving it away. So I decided to try one in this knit, and I love it. It's quite flowy, and it's such a soft knit. This is a knit I got from girl Charlie a while back. This is like a modal knit. That's what it feels like anyway. There'll be more specific links and names in the blog post. So I'm not going to try to put all those links down below here because there's a lot of stuff going on in here. And since I did a blog post to go along with it, I'll put a link to the blog post. And that's what I'll do. But let me see if I can stand up. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. But you can kind of see this right here. This is you see this little jog kind of right there? That's not supposed to be there. I had this cut out for a while, and I just stitched it up with my serger. I didn't follow any seam allowances or anything. I'm sure that's why that happened, but I kind of liked it, so I left it that way and just finished the hem. Y'all, I had so much trouble with these hems. I don't know. Me and knit fabric, when it comes to hems, I'm not super excited about the hems. It's just a basic rolled over hem. But it looks decent, and it's a very comfortable shirt. It's not super clingy or anything like that, and I just really love it. So this is one of my finishes for this month. My other finish, let's see, is this little skirt, which is not for me, obviously. Look at those cute little owls in that print. I'll see if I can, all this fabric was bought at Joann, so they probably don't even have it in print anymore. But this is kind of a sheer polka dot looking fabric. This is for one of my cousin's daughters, and I have a matching one for her sister's daughter. They're cousins to each other. That's a bigger one because she's older, but I'm waiting for a waist measurement. So this is a very simple pattern because you don't even have to print out a pattern. It's just this is a boardwalk skirt from Go To Patterns, and it's really just 2 rectangles for the casing and for this, and then you can add an actual underskirt to make it flow out. I just added the trim at the bottom instead of an underskirt. So it's super simple, and it has the option of doing drawstring if you want to, or elastic. I just went with elastic. That's a really easy pattern. So, and I'll put the link will be in the blog, of course. But that's been hanging up there waiting for a waist measurement for a while, and I had the waist measurement for this one, so I went ahead and finished it. There is a larger one. I'm still waiting for the waist measurement. So to my cousin Helen, if you're watching, I need the waist measurement. Anyway, so let's see. Well, that was the only two things I managed to finish sewing wise, because I spent most of the month working on the baby clothes quilt, which you can see I did 3 tutorial kind of videos on that here, and I also did a blog post about it. So you can find all that in the blog post, all the links to that. So that took up most of my time this month, so I didn't have much time for extra sewing. I did a blog post on this. So this is a basket I made out of just cotton rope. And it is sewn, but I tested dyeing the rope before I sewed it. And I really like the way it turned out, and I hope to make some more of these. I hope to make a larger one. I did, so I'll have a link to, in case you missed it, in the blog post, the monthly Roundup blog post, which I'll have links to all the posts I did over the month, depending on what category you're in. And so you can find the link to this, and then you can find the link to, because I think I put this under DIY as the most thing, but I think it is under sewing too, because I did it on Wednesday, which is normally my DIY post. But you can find a link in that post to the original basket I made, which was a Pinterest challenge post. So, but I really like making these baskets. They're very easy to make, and I really love the colors of this. And now I need to get more dye. I have plenty of this color dye left, but I want to get some other dyes, and I have some other things I want to try. Like I would like to spray it on there after I make the bowl, maybe, and see how that looks, or even dye the whole thing of rope and then spray it with bleach to fade some away. So we'll see how that goes. I'd like to have some things like this. So things like this, eventually I hope to open an Etsy shop. This would be something that I probably would put in there. You won't see items that are made repeatedly, right? Because I don't like making things repeatedly. This would be something that I could make a lot of, but I can make them all different. Does that make sense? So this would be the kind of thing you'd see in my Etsy shop. Something like this, or something like my embroidering on screen when I was talking about putting in the frames. So, and then probably something like these trees, which is something else I've been working on. I'm trying to look. I don't want to get lost. Those were finishes. Okay, so before we talk about that, let's talk about works in progress. Okay, I don't want to get lost. I'll forget something. So works in progress as far as sewing goes. Okay, you see all these boxes back here? There are some empty ones. There's an empty one. That one up there is empty. I just bought a big stack of new ones because I want to put some of these stuff in baskets and boxes to give me more room on the shelf. These are all quilt-alongs or quilts in progress. So for this month, I'm picking this one to try to finish up the top of. Not necessarily quilt, but just get the top finished. This is called Stars in the Night. This was a quilt-along from 2016. So, this is my goal, to get this sewn together. And I made this with batiks. And these were all paper piece blocks. So I didn't make all the blocks that were in that quilt-along, but I finished with what I was going to do. And so I've got a different layout planned, and it's not as big of a quilt. I had to lay the whole thing out on graph paper. So hopefully I will get that stitched up. And I'm also going to include, this was one of the ornaments from last year's Merry Christmas Sew Along, which is still up on the blog for free right now, but this is a paper piece block. This is one I designed, but it's going to go into this quilt as well. So that's my goal for one of my quilt tops to finish for this month. Put that back right here. And then I would like to fix, I have 2 pairs of pants that I sewed up. There's something wrong with both of them and I need to fix. They're completely finished pants. One, the waist is too low, and one is way too big. So could you grab a hold of them? So this one is very similar to my, it was the same pattern as my linen pants that I did a blog post on. And I thought that I had, because I had a pattern that I had altered to fit and did all the measurements and everything. Obviously I had to make some adjustments after I did that pattern, and I didn't adjust the pattern. So these, I mean, these don't even stay up on me. That's how big they are. But I really like them. So, but I'm going to have to, see, I have the facing in. It has a zipper in the side. See? And then I put a pocket in the other side of this because I'm tired of having pants without pockets when I want to put my phone in it or something. So it has the pocket with the different colored fabric in it. So in order to take these in, I've got to take out the whole side seam to bring all that in. There's no other way to do that unless I put some really big darts in the back, which I think will just look ridiculous. So that's why that hasn't happened. And I really need these for work. So that is the goal this month, to get those fixed, to just take it out and do it. Going backwards is never fun in sewing, right? Then this is another blank slate pattern. And I haven't put the pockets on it which I'm going to, because what I just say, I need pockets in my pants. I don't know why I didn't put them on here in the first place. These are just drawstring made out of a very lightweight denim-like material. And I measured across the thigh, because that's usually where I have the most problem in pants, across the thighs. Everything seemed fine. I said, oh, I'm just going to go ahead and sew this up because it's got a drawstring. I did not measure the height of the waist. So, yeah, they're like a low-cut pant, and I can't do low-cut pants. I got too much booty for that. So I really need to, I don't know how I'm going to fix that. I think I'm going to take out the casing and just add an extender with a new casing at the top. That's the only thing I can think of to fix that. And then hopefully I'll still be able to wear them, and they look they look like pants and don't look like some kind of patchwork madness going on. But that's one of my other goals for this month, to get that finished. And then I have hold on, I got so much stuff over here. This, which I posted on Instagram. This UFO has been hanging around. It's a coat. It's got this herringbone kind of soft material on the outside, and it's lined with this stripy material, and it's got a nice color. It's a nice coat, and I had hand hemmed the sleeves and the bottom, and maybe I had a little bit left or something, and then I hung there for a while, and I realized it was becoming uneven, so I needed to take that out and redo it. And it's just been hanging here, y'all. It's been hanging here for years and years and years. I just need to finish the thing so that, and so I challenged myself to have it finished. I'll put this on so you can see it a little bit better. I challenged myself to finish it before the end of the Fabric Mart Photo a Day challenge on Instagram, which ends like the first couple of days in August. So I need to get this done. I have the bottom pinned to hand stitch, because it just looks better with the hand stitching. I'll stand up. You're not going to be able to see the bottom of this. But it has a sash, and you know, I hardly ever buttons, because the original pattern had buttons, but it has some buttons that I'm going to put on the lapel that are just decorative, that I got from one of my Australian friends. See, this would never work buttoned anyway, because I've gotten too big in the behind for it to button. But with a sash, it'll be fine, and it'll be a nice overcoat, and it does have pockets, y'all. Of course, it's very long, comes down past my knees, and I'm 5'8", so, but that is, all I gotta do is sit there and hand stitch, and I'll probably do that this evening, hopefully. Of course, I'll be editing films and stuff, so I may not get to do that. Let me sit back down so my head's not way up in outer space. So, I think I fixed my camera shaking problem, which is good. So it used to shake every time I touched the table. But, so those are my works in progress I have to finish up before the month of August is over. So then we have upcoming, okay? that's where we're going to talk about my trees. I started this in the winter, and I have the post links in the blog posts, and this was my winter tree. This was my spring tree. And this is made by sewing yarn and stuff and some free motion quilting onto the fabric, and with the quilt part, the batting on the back, but not backing it, because I plan to sew this up into a banner. So it's time for do a summer tree, right? But I really wanted a blue background fabric, because that's what I think of as summertime, is a blue sky. And I didn't have any in my stash, believe it or not. So I was on Etsy, and I was actually looking for something else, which we'll talk about later, that I have already ordered. Well, it was the Front Yard collection by Sarah Watts from Cotton and Steel. It's got gnomes and mushrooms in it, y'all, and I love them. And I really wanted that fat quarter, so I pre-ordered it with someone on Etsy, and originally it said it was over here in July, but she sent me a message, said that they're not going to send it to her till August. So I'm holding off on the other fabric I ordered from her, which is for my summer tree. Get to the point, Christy. Which is a Cotton and Steel ombre fabric. So it's very blue and it fades into white. I think that'll just be beautiful for my summer tree, because I'm planning on making it very green. Because most of the time in the summer, I may put a little brown in there, because in the south things get very green, because we have a lot of afternoon thunder showers because it's so hot. But then it gets dried out sometimes, so you get little brown edges. So I'm waiting on that fabric to do my summer tree, but hopefully I'll get it before the end of August, and I can do that post. I plan on doing a post. I'm hoping to do a tutorial video for how I do these as well. We'll see how that works out, but that's upcoming. I've also got, and I showed this before, and I just haven't done it yet, but I'm hoping, where's that at? Oh. My dad gave me, he was cleaning out his closets, and I was taking stuff to charity, and then I hung on to this corduroy jacket, right? Always liked this jacket. Look at those buttons. Just reminds me of a college professor or something, for lack of a better word. And so I wanted to keep it, but what I plan on doing is modifying it to fit me and be more feminine. So you see how it has this kind of gray brownish lining? I'm going to replace it with this, right? This is a silky type. Put it together in front of my face. I want that to be the lining. So I'm going to remove the whole lining and make some adjustments so it fits me better. It's too big. It's a men's jacket. And once I get those adjustments done, then I'm going to reline it with this. And I'll probably do some other things, but I'm going to wait till I really get into it to do that. But that's something I hope I get to work on soon, because I'd really like to have it when colder weather hits. Of course, around here, colder weather probably won't hit until December. Maybe we'll get some in November. So, but we may get some cooler fall weather evenings, but it can be 80 degrees sometimes in December. So, you never know around here. So, but I'd like to have it finished before I could potentially wear it somewhere. So that's all the upcoming as far as sewing. Now, as far as new purchases in fabric, you need to watch my fabric haul video, because that's where you're going to see all the new fabric. There's too much to include in this. I will have a picture collage on the blog and some links to everything, even though I'm pretty sure I put links in that video too. So I may just link to the video, and then you can see the fabrics, and then if you see something, you can click on the links to the fabrics. I have to look back and see how I did that. But so there's been lots of new fabric. I've noticed that there's lots of things, crafty deals in July, and I'm sure that's because it's similar to fashion industry. They're getting ready for fall, which is the biggest season when all the new stuff comes in, right? So they're clearing out to make room for that. So I found lots of good deals on different things, and you know, fabric follows the seasons too. So the other thing I have which is right here. These are my 4 new mini charm squares from Fat Quarter Shop. I'm in their mini charm square club, which is 2.5-inch squares. 2 of them are Christmassy. And then there's these 2 right here. I'm not going to try to take these apart to look into them, because whatever month it is, you can go in there and it actually shows a picture of what they're having for that month. So then you can look at all the stuff. I've been doing this for a few months now, and I tend on making blocks out of it. I do my mini charm bags or totes with this too, but I don't know. I liked it at first, but I'm getting a bunch of them and I can't seem to use them fast enough. So I'm thinking about changing to something with larger fabric in the fabric club. So we'll see. I had intended on staying in this till the end of the year, but I don't know if that's going to happen. So I'm still waiting. I'm still trying to decide. So, and then the wish list, I showed you the Front Yard by Sarah Watts for Cotton and Steel, which is technically not on my wish list anymore because I have pre-ordered it. I just haven't gotten it into my hands yet, but that is something I've been watching and wanting to get. So I'm hoping to have that before the end of August. Okay, so now we're going to move into crochet news. Y'all, this has been a big month for crochet and yarn. I've been watching a lot of knitting and crochet, and I don't know how to knit yet, podcasts on YouTube, which is kind of what made me decide to start a podcast. And I have been crocheting like crazy, so I have a lot to show y'all. Alright, so the Underground Crafter, she's a blogger. She puts on a Christmas in July. So I did some last year. So this first thing I'm going to show you is actually, it was a bag I crocheted for last year. I couldn't find the pattern, so I'm not sure. I don't remember where it came from. So, but it was lingering in my pile of unfinished stuff. I decided to go ahead and finish it. So it was a bag. It's got buzz all over it. So this is the bag. It's done with corner to corner crochet, which I love corner to corner crochet. I don't know why, but I just love the pattern and the texture it gives it, and it's just basic stitches, just the way you do it. So, and this fabric that I lined it with, I got from 4 Peaches Fabric, which is no longer in business. She went out of business, but I got it in her kind of clearance sale because I had been eyeballing it for a while, and I went ahead and bought it. I didn't use all of it in here. I still have some left, but it's called, it's from the Jungle Avenue line by Sarah Lawson for Art Gallery Fabrics. It's called Electricity, and I think part of the reason I wanted this fabric was just because of the name, but I do love the print. The only thing I have to do is I've got to stitch my opening, hand stitch that. But then the strap. This is one of those ribbons that comes on blankets sometimes that you buy with the Velcro at the end. And I hardly ever buy a blanket like that, but other people do, and I tell them to give me the ribbon because they're great for straps. They are fabulous for straps. And it's basically free and something that people may not even keep. So that's my first crochet finished object. So next we have my Beach Pebbles hat. Now this is a pattern in this year's Christmas in July from Underground Crafter. This is by Umbaka Designs. I'm trying to get close so you can see. Maybe you can see the stitches. I did this in Lion Brand Heartland yarn in Crater Lake. This is some of the yarn I got in my Hobby Lobby haul. It has that nice ribbed look on the brim. So you'll notice that my first row of stitches do not look like a popcorn, because in the pattern, the way she does a popcorn stitch, now I like to do a popcorn stitch where you do like however many stitches are in the popcorn and then you connect them all at the end, right? Well, hers were 5 double crochet in the stitch. You have to remove your hook from that stitch, go back into the first stitch, and then come up back into your loop and then connect it that way. And I was like, that's just, it kind of messes with the flow of the crochet, right? But after I did that first row of stitches, those popcorn stitches do not stand out. If I poke them, they come out, right? But because there's 2 half double crochets in between, those types of popcorn stitches do not work for this hat. So I did wind up using the stitch like she put in her pattern, and I love the way it looks. Put it on. See? It's got a slouchy back. I really love the color. I needed another hat besides the yellow one I have. So I did not make this for a Christmas present. I made it for myself. But I might make another one for presents. I have some more of this yarn that I only have in 1 or 2 colorways. And they're good for hats. So we'll see. So next are my Totally Teen fingerless gloves. Now I do like these, but I thought I could give them to someone, but until I realized, you'll notice in my picture over there, that they're not the same height. I missed a row, obviously, or added a row here. I don't know, but they don't match in height. They are very warm and soft and snuggly. This one is obviously a lot longer than this one. So I don't know yet what I'll do with these, because I feel bad. I would feel bad giving someone a gift with their obviously mismatched as far as the length. So this was made with Hometown USA yarn that I had in my stash. This color is Sioux City Tweed, and then this is Portland Wine, not Wine. So I really like the colors, but we'll see what I wind up doing with that. So let's see what's next on my list. Lots of finishes here. Oh my goodness, I forgot to get the pattern of this. I'll put the link in my blog post, and I'll put a thing up here with what the name of this pattern is. But this is a scarf I finished. I made it out of the Karen Sprinkle Cakes. I think this is Mocha Rainbow. I'll have it right here. Yeah, Mocha Rainbow. I did not use all of this. I thought I put the whole skein in the scarf, but I didn't need to, so I still have this much of it left. And this is designed to where it's a shorter scarf, so you're supposed to put buttons or something on the side to hold it like this. You get it to set right, which I really like the way that looks. And I'm thinking about putting this button right here on there. I only have one of these big buttons, so I'm gonna have to pause so I can download some stuff off of my phone. Okay, I had to take a little break because my camera, well, my phone, I'm recording on my phone, was getting too full, and I forgot to download some stuff before I started this, so that wouldn't happen. So anyway, we're gonna move right along. And so my final finish, it's not necessarily a finish, it's a repair. I had this blanket here that I made many moons ago. And I didn't, it was before I knew how to properly attach sections of crochet, right? So the first time I washed this, it just came apart. Like there was pieces coming apart. There's big gaps where I sewed all the squares together. And so for a long time I couldn't find the thread to match this, to fix it. And I just realized on Lion Brand's website, I believe I found the 2 colors that I made this with originally. I think it's made out of Woolies and Ranch Red and Forest Green Heather. But I stitched it together, back together, the correct way with Vanna's Choice in Cranberry. So you can kind of see the stitches Originally I was gonna single crochet, but I didn't like the ridge it was adding. So now this is fixed and I have washed it. It stayed together just fine, and I will put it away for Christmas time. Yay! Toss it over there. So let's move right along to works in progress. So I did a video comparing 2 yarn clubs I've signed up for this year, which was Jimmy Bean's Wool Crochet Club, which they just started in April, and July starts the beginning of a new project because I have a new project every 3 months. So I did show the project from last month, which I still haven't finished because I have to weave in all the ends to those little circles and sew them together, and I just haven't done that. So I decided to get a head start so I'd be done with this month, because this time we're making, I'm fairly certain this is going to be a shawl, and I've even weaved in all my ends already, so that's pretty awesome. But this month's, so if you don't want to know what this month's is, don't look, but this is what we have so far. And you can watch that video to see what kinds of yarns were in there with it, but it has a lot of different kinds of yarns and a little bit different size yarns, so I like that. They do all, well no, there was one that did not have wool in it, but most of them have wool. It's Jimmy Bean's wool, so you would assume that their crochet club has wool in it. But I did all of that, and I got all the ends weaved in after a couple knots in here because I was thinking this stitch count just is not right. And I got on into this section before I realized, no, the stitch count is right. I kept forgetting. You know how if you have like the chain 3 counts as a double crochet, and then the stitch just before that, sometimes the way I crochet, you miss that loop, and that's what I had done. So I had to take it out, and then I didn't have quite enough to finish my rows once I had the stitch count right. So, which I wound up with a lot of thread left. I still got a bunch of thread left from what they sent. So, but I don't know if I'll need some for next month or what. So, anyway, that's one work in progress in my nice little bag, and you can learn more about that crochet club on that other video that I did. Okay, so the next the next one, Bonita Patterns and Yarns is doing a crochet along for a crocodile stitch triangle poncho, which I have so many other patterns and I've never made one, so I decided to do this one because I had this mandala yarn, and that's my work in progress. You can see how far I've gotten, like 3 rows. Well, no, that's 6 rows because of what you do in between to make the crocodile stitch. But I took this out so many times, even after I looked at the pictures, because I was like, I don't understand how this is going. But once I finally realized what they were doing, it's a really easy pattern. And now this is let's see, this is a size 3 yarn, but they call for, I think, a size 2 or sport weight in the pattern. So I may just eliminate some of the rows and want to see how big it gets once I get there. But I really wanted to use this. This is Line Brand Mandala in Spirit. And I did get 2 skeins of this. I'm going to have to get a third if I need all of the yarn, if it doesn't get as big as I think it's going to get. Because of the yardage it requires. But it was $4.97 at my Walmart. Not a deal or discount or anything, but I liked the colorway. So that's a very small short story. And this is my yarn butler that I made. There's a post about that too. I love this thing, and these cakes fit on it perfectly. When you crochet, it just pulls along. It works great, and I want another one so I can have, because I tried it with like the skeins like this, but because it does have a hole kind of goes through it, but it doesn't work as well because the yarn is up and over and around. It's not just in one direction like this is, so it doesn't work great for those if you haven't already wound it into a cake. So, but it works great for the cakes. I used it when I made the scarf with the Karen Sprinkle cakes too. So that's a small work in progress. Let's move right along. So this is, let's talk about my circle Afghan first. I'm doing this whole, it started as part of a Pinterest challenge blog post I did, and I've continued on with it and just kept going. But this is my circular, it's gonna be hard to show here, but my circular freeform Afghan. And what I'm doing is I'm crocheting over the top of this, which is Boutique Boulevard from Red Heart. I have a ton of this because I caught a flash sale and it was 99 cents a skein, and I got as much of as I could in every colorway I could because that was very cheap. And originally I was going to do a blanket. I didn't like the way that was turning out, so I took it all apart and it's just been hanging around. And this is what I'm crocheting over it with is Cascade DK, Cascade Sport Weight. Look at this. Cascade Yarns Cherub DK. That's what it is. It's just a gray color. And I had a bunch of it for some reason. I don't know. Sometimes I buy stuff for a project and then I don't do the project and then I forget why I buy the yarn, but sometimes I buy it because I like it. It was just gray yarn, so I don't know. But what I did, it was a little tricky getting all of this. You see the back of this. Because it had the fat yarn and the skinny yarn on it, I kind of wove it in between these stitches and then went back through with a darning yarn, and the end of the gray yarn went up and down in it and kind of stitched it in. So I'm not too sure how this is going to stay together. And then this, I had some already just in big crocheted chains, some links, and I just added a row. When I connected all the circles, you can still see my stitch markers holding those circles together, because I do intend on going in between here with some crochet. But I wanted to get this stuff on the outside, because when I tried to do it without it connected in some way, even with the stitch marker, I didn't like the way it was looking. So I wanted to get the outside done and then fill in the center. I know that's a little weird, but I've just attached that with a slip stitch. And I'm just going to continue around until I get to the end of that. This is where it's starting to overlap a little bit. And so this is the Boulevard yarn in a chain that I just chained like half of the skein, and then I'm slip stitching it to the blanket. So I don't know where this is gonna, I have an idea in my head of what I want it to be, but it's kind of just like I said, it's a freeform type thing. So we'll see what it looks like in the end. I should have enough yarn to make a big blanket. So that's something I just work on when I get the mood to work on it, because it's something that I kind of have to think about a little more because I'm not sure what I'm doing. But also got my chai latte, which I had left on the Keurig and forgot about, so I had to heat it up during my break. Anyway, let's move along to other whips and works in progress. So the last thing is this. I have all these squares I crocheted as part of some crochet along, which I thought was a Moogly crochet along I did one year, but I was trying to figure out what year it was and I couldn't find one with patterns that matched any of this, so I'm not sure, not even sure anymore what this came from. But I started to put it in the giveaway pile because I was like, I don't really want to stitch together all these squares, even though some of them are really neat looking. This is just in Red Heart Super Saver. But then I thought, what if I put fabric in between the squares? Because some of these are, I wanted to line it with something, because some of them are really lacy like this. And lacy blankets, even though I have that Christmas one, are only good to lay over something, really. It's not good to just cover up with because there's too many holes in it. But I'm going to put this in between, like a 2.5 inch strip between each square, and sew it on there. Then I'm going to put something on the back. So that's what I decided to do with that. So it's technically back to a work in progress. It's been sitting over there forever. So that's all the works in progress that I'm going to share with you today, because I have tons of them at all times, and I'm not going to share any more than that right now. But upcoming, I would like to share I showed you this a minute ago, but I caught this. I'll probably put a link on my Facebook to remind people. They had this half off for their Christmas in July sale on Lion Brand yarn. And it ends at the end of July, I believe. This is silk mohair. And I got this for $3 a skein, which was half price because it was $6 a skein. So that's really great for that. It's 70% Super Kid mohair and 30% silk. And this colorway is Sunset. So when I saw it, I had this pattern I wanted to make, right? Which was this right here. I'm not going to put the hood on it because I don't think I'd wear the hood very much. But it's called Open Spaces Coat by Sylvie Damey. It's on Ravelry. I put the link in the blog post. It is a paid pattern. I think it's $7 in European money or something like that. I can't remember exactly how much it was in US currency. So, but what I'm gonna, but see, it calls for a super chunk. No, it calls for a thicker thread, super bulky yarn. And I thought, I didn't think I would like it that much in a super bulky, but I had this Heartland and Pinnacle that I got from a Hobby Lobby haul. And when I saw this mohair, I thought I would just love to crochet that with those two held together, which would get close to the bulk, the super bulk. Probably won't be as super bulk. I have to do my gauge and everything, but this is what I'm gonna make that in. I'm gonna hold those two things together. It's hard to do right there, but you'll see a better picture on the website, hopefully. And I'm gonna make this coat right here. And I'm super excited about that. Haven't started on it yet. I want to finish up some of these other things before I start on it, but I'm excited about that. We'll see how it turns out. My other upcoming project, I was looking on the Lion Brand website because they don't have all the Lion Brand yarns at any store close by me. It's really frustrating sometimes because they do have them at other stores, but some of them they only have on the website. But I saw this Ombre Life. I saw this color first. Now I also have one in this color. I just love that. This is a 50-50 acrylic cotton blend. It is so soft, y'all. And it's kind of like two pieces that you'd hold together, two thinner pieces. So it's not twisted. The two strands aren't twisted, but you hold them together as you crochet. And it's made on the skein like that. But I wanted to make this. This is the shaded color shawl, which my link on the blog is going to be to the free pattern, which tells you what yarn to use, and it's this yarn. I bought the exact yarn for the pattern because when I saw the pattern I wanted that colorway, so that's why I bought this, which I hardly ever do. But I'm looking forward to doing that. It's going to be a very lightweight shawl because this is cotton and acrylic, which would be nice. Might be nice for air-conditioned days in the summer, but since it stays hot here most of the time, we do have a winter. This past winter we did have snow and ice, but that's a rarity around here. So, but I'm looking forward to starting that one too. But like I said, those are upcoming projects. Maybe I'll have made progress by my next monthly roundup post, but we'll see. So, as far as new purchases, now I'm going to do another yarn haul video because I have several things, and I didn't want to put that all in here too. So I'm not going to show. Some of it was what I just showed you for my upcoming projects, so you did get to see some of it, and they weren't like super deals except for the mohair. But one thing I have bought, I got this at the Amazon Prime Day, was this crochet hook set. It's from Athena's Elements, and I got it for like 12 bucks. I think the original price is 15, so it was a $3 discount. It comes with the crochet hook from size 2mm up to an 8mm, which is a B through L or 1 through 11 in US sizes. And I really love these. I've been using them on anything new that I start to crochet because the handles are wonderful. They're not plastic, they're like a rubbery kind of feel. So I have some handles similar, but they're plastic and they're still hard. But this has the little flat spot there too that mimics the flat spot in a regular crochet hook, which I use to hold. And these are what are they, aluminum hooks? They seem to be, I think they're, no, these are stainless steel hooks, I think. Let me look at it. I don't have the paper with me. I think they're stainless steel hooks because they're different than aluminum. They're a little bit tougher. It does still have a good space here. I really love them. So that's a good variety of hooks. I got some in here that I'm missing. Like I said, I'll put the link on the blog. It also came with like 3 size darning needles. So I would highly recommend these hooks. I like them for the price that I paid for them, and it's a smaller kind of business, I suppose. Athena's Elements, yeah. So I would recommend these for sure. So that's the only new purchase I'm going to show you besides the yarn for the upcoming. You'll see all the other yarn that I've purchased in my video for Thrifty Thursday. So, oh, one more thing. I have some sheep's wool. You see this? This is directly from a sheep. I have a student at the college who raises sheep, and he sheared them recently, and he brought me some just so I could see how it was, because I've never seen, I've seen sheep at petting zoos and things like that, and I've petted them, but I've never had wool directly off the sheep like this. And he said this was a Jacob breed plus catagen or something, like the mother is one, father is the other, and he said it should have longer hair than it does, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but I thought that was really cool. So maybe I'll felt it or something. I don't know. I don't really have any interest in spinning yarn. It's not really something I'm interested in, but people always talk about the smell of it, and it does smell. It's kind of nice to smell. You would think it smelled like a stinky barn animal, but it doesn't. So that is very interesting. My husband suggested it was because they washed the sheep before they shear it. I don't know. I don't know how that goes. So, all right. So are we done with crochet? Okay. On my wish list for crochet, like I need more yarn. I really want some of that comfy cotton blend from Lion Brand. I noticed if you ever watch Bag O' Day Crochet, I really like to watch her show. She has lots of crochet patterns, which I don't watch that much, but I do like to watch her yarn haul adventures and with her husband. He's so supportive of her crochet habit and yarn habit. But and I'll put a link to that video down below there. I will put that link down there. But she's found that comfy cotton is in her Walmart. So I checked my Walmart. Not on the shelves. If I go to walmart.com and just look at what's in store, it says they're in store and it's in-store purchase only. But they are not on my shelves. I tell you what, my Walmart sometimes, it happens like that a lot. Or I can order it online and pick it up at the store, but it was never on the shelf. So I don't know what I'm going to do, because I'd really like to have some of it. In the one particular colorway that I like, I cannot find anywhere but Lion Brand. So we'll see what I wind up doing. But it's not something I gotta have right now, but it is on my wish list. The other thing on my wish list is Mandala baby yarn, because they have some colorways that I really like better than most of the colorways in the regular Mandala. And they have Sparkle Mandala, which I want to try. It's supposed to be in my Walmart too. Not there. But the one I particularly love in the Mandala baby yarn is Far Far Away. I just love the colorway. I love the colors in it. So, we'll see. I'll see if I find it. I typically like to find a good deal on my yarn before I buy. I did pay full price for the Mandolin Spirit because it was $4.97, which is cheaper than the Line Brand's website, but then the thing is, they don't always have all the colorways on my shelf that they do on the website. So anyway, those are my wish list things. So let's move on into DIY news. I don't have any finishes to show you in DIY news because I haven't done very many DIY things. That bowl that I showed you that I stitched, that was on a DIY post. Because it's a lot of the DIYs I currently want to do are things I have to go outside to do, right? I built pegboards for my drafting class for their project. They're doing a Rube Goldberg machine, and we needed pegboards, and my dad and I put those together in his shop. So hot. I had to take a bath when I got done. I just had to because I was sweating so much. I don't like being hot. I just don't like it. So most of the projects DIY wise I want to do, or I have to go outside to do it. I don't have a workshop list like got AC in it or anything like that, and so either it's raining or it's just too hot. So hopefully I will get something going here soon. Now I do have some upcoming and new purchases to show you. So we're just going to skip to that. I don't have any works in progress for that at all. Nope, I don't. So let's go to new purchases since this is right on top. So I have quite a collection of beads because I do like to make jewelry sometimes. And on Consumer Crafts I found, well, I ordered the original Doris bead trays that you can see posts about that I did. I'm going to grab one to show you. I keep my sewing machine feet in it. But these are the trays. It comes with a tray like this. You don't have to worry about it falling out because it has this little lid on it. And then they have several different sizes in there. And they are perfect to store my sewing machine feet collection. And each one's in a little tray and it's labeled. And I can keep them in there. So I was gonna get some more of the ones like this. To see, they even have the bigger ones for just beads, because I have beads and they were just in a bunch of different baggies and it doesn't set right in the container I had it in. But I found this because I have a lot of, I don't remember why I didn't do that. I had a coupon or something, I don't know. But I got it off of Consumer Crafts. If you open this up, I'm trying to hold this without it falling out. It has all the little trays, the little individual containers. It has a couple different sizes. Then it has the bigger one, two big ones. And actually, there were some inside the other ones. So I have extras that didn't fit in here, but I was able to put them with my beads in another container I had. And I like this because I had a handle on it. You can kind of grab it and go. But I can go sit wherever I'm doing this at. But it has little plastic containers. They don't close that great on the side all the time, but when they're in the box, they're fine. And these just kind of stack in here. And then also, the two big boxes, it came with that little scoop and the tweezers. So that came with the kit. I don't remember how much I paid for this right now, but I'll put that information on the blog. But that is, I didn't get all my beads in this, so I'm probably going to get another one because I'd like to have more consistent container systems for stuff because it just fits better in the shelving I have than having a bunch of different kinds. So that is one of my new purchases. My other new purchase is one of those 3-tiered rolling carts that I've been seeing them everywhere. I caught a great deal with a coupon and free shipping on Consumer Crafts. I got one for like $18.79. They're usually $30. And I wanted it to go beside my thinking chair. I'll put a picture in over here somewhere so you can see what it looks like. But to hold different projects I'm working on, or my cup of coffee, or whatever. It works really great for that. My only trouble is sometimes I have it food while I'm doing whatever in here. I'd like to build a little wooden top for the top level that kind of slides and moves, so I could still put stuff in there, but I could have a flatter surface to set food or coffee or something on. So that's something I hope to be able to do pretty soon. It shouldn't be too much of a big deal to put together. But let's see, some upcoming projects that I hope to get out soon. In Hobby Lobby, the second time when I actually went to Hobby Lobby on my second trip, I got buzz in my mouth from something, probably all this yarn. But I found these couple of things that I got a couple projects I want to do with, and one is this. It has a W. It's I think it's DC Comics. Yeah, DC Comics. And this is for my son. He has a different last name than I do, but I wanted a J, but they don't have a J, they had a W. He really loves the comics like this. And then I also got these two knobs, which you can see were like $1.50 each. They were in their clearance section. I want to make like a frame with the two knobs and the W in it, where he could probably hang something if he wanted to, or just as a decorative thing. So that's a project I've got that I'm gonna have soon. Then I also got all these other knobs that were on sale. So I got some wings. I got this one. It's my eye. No. And I got this one that's kind of crackly looking. And I got another one like that. It's kind of Moroccan looking. I got two of these and two of these. And I have some old wood. I did a DIY beauty station thing with the wood for one thing, but I want to make it look like just a thing where you put the knobs. You've probably seen it all over Pinterest, and you can hang things on. So I have several old barn wood sections that I'd like to do that with, and I may do a tutorial for that, because that would be for something fairly easy to do a tutorial for on YouTube. So that is for upcoming projects and DIY. I did also I do have a kind of new purchase. I don't know if this, I plan on painting on this, so, but this little caddy, which still has a sticker on, it's metal. This is really cool brass looking handle. My parents found this at Walmart on clearance for $5. It's a utensil caddy, so it has sections in here, which I'm currently using to hold stuff, little stuff for the podcast. But I think that's going to be it for today. I've been talking forever. I'm going to have to edit this. I think I'm still over an hour with everything. The only thing I forgot to tell you in the sewing news was that new thing that's in my coloring pages. It's a printable, and I designed it so you could print it on fabric like this, which is what I did. Very excited about that. I used a technique I found on Lisa Capon Quilts, which I'll connect to her blog down below, her YouTube channel down below, using freezer paper. So, but it was my own design, and I printed it on fabric, and that's pretty neat, and I can't wait to make something with it. So I'm gonna call this the end, and I will see y'all, well, I'll see y'all in some other videos, but they won't be nearly as long as this, but I will see y'all next month for my monthly roundup, and I hope that y'all have a great August.